Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I am Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Horrific: 4 people dead after Tesla slams into pillar and catches fire on Lakeshore Boulevard. Suspects drive into police cruiser, multiple vehicles after Nobleton, Ontario break-in. NDP plan motion to push back against anti-abortion creep from Conservatives. Sentencing hearing continues for University of Waterloo stabber. Cooler temperatures move into Toronto, but things warm up ahead of Halloween. Body of teen in Halifax Walmart bakery oven was discovered by her mother. Trudeau announces massive drop in immigration targets.
These were the headlines. Now let's jump right into the details.
4 people are dead and another is in hospital after Tesla driving through downtown Toronto at a high rate of speed crashed into guardrail and struck a concrete pillar on Lakeshore Boulevard. It happened in eastbound lanes of the busy road east of Cherry Street shortly before 12:15 a.m. The vehicle lost control, struck a guardrail, and then struck a concrete pillar. Upon impact, the vehicle then caught fire, Duty Inspector Philip Sinclair told reporters Thursday morning. He confirmed that 3 men and women, all believed to be in their 20s and 30s, were pronounced dead at the scene, and the driver, who was in the area at the time of the crash, stopped and managed to pull one woman in her 20s from the burning car. She was transported to hospital with serious injuries, Toronto Paramedic Services said. However, she's expected to survive. I believe the fire had started when the bystander provided assistance. So again, thanks very much to that bystander, Sinclair said. We have been speaking to them, and obviously they also are deeply affected by this incident and very horrific scene for that bystander to step in. Firefighters then arrived on scene to discover significant fire, Deputy Fire Chief Jim Jessop said. Images from the scene showed the charred and crumpled vehicle being hauled away from the site of the crash. There was a heavy police presence at the scene through the early morning hours, with the collision reconstruction unit working to piece together exactly what happened. It is not yet clear what caused the driver to lose control of the vehicle. Lakeshore Boulevard was closed both ways between the Don Valley Parkway and Cherry Street through the night as police investigated the fatal crash. The road reopened around 8:30 a.m. Police north of Toronto say 2 suspects allegedly drove into a police cruiser and several other vehicles while trying to flee a daylight break and enter at a Nobleton, Ontario house on Tuesday. It happened at 4 p.m. at the residence near Paradise Valley and Fairmont Ride Trails, York Regional Police said in a news release issued Thursday. Officers responded to the area for a break-and-enter in progress call at that time, and when they arrived on scene, police said the 2 suspects attempted to flee. Police said the suspects then drove their vehicle into a police cruiser before striking multiple civilian vehicles. It's not unclear if any injuries were sustained. The suspects allegedly ditched the car and fled the scene on foot. One suspect was arrested a short time later. Police said a firearm was discovered near the abandoned vehicle. Josanthan Candia is facing 10 charges in connection with the incident, including break and enter with intent, possession of loaded restricted firearm, and driving while under suspension. Police and Candia was on 3 previous firearm prohibition orders at the time of his arrest. A detailed description of the second suspect was not released. The NDP is looking to push back against what it calls a creep of legislation, petitions, and threats from the Conservatives aimed at reducing access to abortion. Leader Jagmeet Singh says his party will use its next opposition day to force the House of Commons to debate and vote on a motion that calls for urgent action to improve abortion access. Speaking in Montreal, Singh also called out the governing Liberals, saying they haven't done enough to improve abortion access in Canada. The NDP in its press release cited several examples of what it called anti-choice moves from the Tories, including a petition presented earlier this year by a conservative MP that claimed more than 98% of abortions are for reasons of social and personal convenience. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said he disagreed with the petition and has previously called himself pro-choice and said he would not pass laws that restrict reproductive choices if he is elected. The Conservative MP also introduced a bill last year to encourage judges to consider a victim's pregnancy as an aggravating factor in sentencing, something advocates said could be used to open up the abortion debate. A provincial crown attorney is arguing that a man who stabbed 3 people in a University of Waterloo gender studies class last year was motivated by hate as his sentencing hearing continues. Giovanni Villalba Alman has pleaded guilty 2 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of assault with a weapon and 1 count of assault causing bodily harm in the June 2023 attack. Federal prosecutors have argued the offenses amount to terrorism in this case because they were motivated by ideology and meant to intimidate the public. Provincial prosecutors are also arguing today that Villalba Alaman's offenses were hate-motivated because he expressed hatred for members of the LGBTQ plus community in a manifesto and told police in an interview that he specifically wanted to target a gender studies class. On Wednesday, court heard from a psychologist who recently assessed Villalba Alaman. Smita Vertyagi told the court Villalba Alaman appeared to be in a downward spiral and may have experienced a psychotic break in the weeks leading up to the attack, but prosecutors argue any mental health conditions he may have had should not mitigate his crimes. More seasonable temperatures are making their way back into Toronto after a warm start to the work week, but the forecast could heat up again leading into Halloween. The high will reach 13 Celsius on Thursday, which is just 1 degree higher than normal, mixed with plenty of sunshine. Friday is calling for a high of 14 Celsius with a chance of showers ahead of what Bill Coulter, meteorologist, described as a fresh-feeling weekend as a cooler air mass moves over the city. It's all around us, the cooler air, he said. We are in this pattern through the weekend with normal temperatures, with a high of 12 Celsius on both Saturday and Sunday. And we will see a bump up in temperatures as the winds do pull back some warmth that's retreating stateside right now into the American Midwest and Deep South. Things will cool off on Monday just before the lead up to Halloween, but temperatures will pop back up to the highs of 18 Celsius and 21 Celsius on Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit of good news for trick-or-treaters. Till we get there, though, you got to pull out those thicker jackets and maybe the gloves and hats as we dip down to low single-digit territory through the overnights, Coulter said. A Sikh organization says the body of a 19-year-old employee who died in a Halifax Walmart bakery oven Saturday was discovered by her mother, a co-worker at the store. The Maritime Sikh Society on Thursday identified the victim as Gursimran Kaur, a Sikh woman originally from India. She was a young, beautiful girl who came to Canada with big dreams, says an online fundraising page organized by the society. Kaur had immigrated to Canada with her mother about 2 years ago. Balbir Singh, secretary of the society, said Kaur's mother is still suffering from the shock, but she authorized the release of information about her daughter for the GoFundMe page. The fundraising drive says the mother became frantic after her daughter stopped answering her phone during the Saturday night shift. The mother, whose name was not released, eventually opened the walk-in bakery oven at the store and found her daughter's burnt body, it says. The fundraiser, which had amassed more than $85,000 as of noon local time, requests donations to bring Kaur's father and brother from Punjab region of India to Nova Scotia for the funeral. This family's sufferings are unimaginable and undescribable. They need your support to get through this horrific time, it says. A spokeswoman from Walmart said the company has no further comment on the matter as a criminal investigation is still underway. Halifax Regional Police have said they are still attempting to determine the cause and manner of the young woman's death and have said the investigation is complex and could be lengthy. They said in an email statement Thursday they have no new information to share with the public. In an interview, Singh said the mother wants answers about how it was possible for her daughter to die in the oven and not be found until she began a search. She, the mother, is not in a state where she wants all of this to be hushed up, he said. She is telling everyone that she wants justice for her daughter. He added the mother is receiving psychological counseling to help her through the shock and intense grief she is experiencing. The federal government is slashing immigration targets as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau admits the government did not get the balance right following the COVID-19 pandemic. The government had targeted bringing in 500,000 new permanent residents in both 2025 and 2026. Trudeau now says next year's target will be 395,000 new permanent residents, which will continue to fall to 380,000 in 2026 and 365,000 in 2027. The change comes after significant criticisms of the Liberal government's increases to immigration and the impact of strong population growth on housing availability and affordability. The government's goal is also to reduce the number of temporary residents to 5% of the population over the next 3 years, down from 7.2% in July. The moves come after years of rapid increase to the number of new permanent residents in Canada and a ballooning number of people coming to Canada on a temporary basis, which federal ministers have concealed put pressure on housing and affordability. Immigration Minister Mark Miller said the lower immigration numbers will help with the housing shortage, estimating that by 2027, Canada will need to build 670,000 fewer homes to close the gap. Miller said the federal government expects 40% of the permanent residency spots will be filled by temporary residents, which he says makes sense. These people are a young labor pool. They are skilled. They are here. They have begun their process of integration, and it doesn't place the additional demands on the housing, healthcare, and social services that we see with someone that comes directly from another country.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.